Hello and welcome to the MFG Advocate. I'm Penny Brown. Automation is offering some exciting technologies that allow manufacturers to be more productive and innovative. To speak about some of these technologies, we're with Mike Cicco, the President and CEO of Fanuc America. How are you today, Mike?
Good, Penny. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here. So first of all, just tell us, what are some of the recent trends in automation technology and their applications?
That's a good question. Some of the recent applications, and the industry's been going crazy over the past few years, and the new applications are coming every day. Collaborative robots is a big one. You'll see out on the shop floor, even here throughout the halls, a lot of robots that are working really closely by people. We're finding that as manufacturers want to shrink their space down quite a bit, having the robot work closely next to somebody is a big benefit to the operators and to the manufacturers. So that's a big deal. The other thing that you're going to see a lot of is Industry 4.0. You'll hear it whether it's called Industry 4.0 or the Industrial Internet of Things. Connectivity between equipment and automation to provide some benefits a big deal. We're connected. We have a system that we called the Field System, as an IoT system that we have. We're connected to over 200 different devices throughout the show. So we are connected to our own things, we're connected to other people's things, we're even connected to some of our competitors' things. And having that open connectivity, I think, is what's going to drive manufacturing in the future. Some of the other things, in our booth and some of the other booths, you'll see a lot of mobile robots, mobile carts, mobile part storage. Taking the freedom of being able to move parts around without conveyors, without fences, adds a lot of benefit to the manufacturing businesses that are looking to automate. So in our booth, you'll see a robot that's actually attached to a mobile platform. So if you have a manufacturing process that's kind of slow, you could actually take the robot and have the robot transport itself to a lot of different manufacturing processes, or you could have the robots fixed if the cycle time's a little bit faster, and you can use the mobile robot to actually transport the parts to all the different processes. So people are looking into all sorts of new ways to use robots and automation here.
It sounds like that would really allow a factory to be much more flexible.
Yes, absolutely, and that's really what people are looking to do, is they want to be agile. Some of the latest trends is the people want parts more on demand, want greater flexibility. And utilizing some of these mobile robots, utilizing the data that's produced with the IoT platforms, having collaborative robots really allows the manufacturers to be much more flexible in how they do things.
So for anyone that maybe isn't familiar with cobots, what are some of the technological considerations that go into developing those? Right,
so collaborative robots, cobots, are designed so that they don't produce the amount of force that might hurt somebody. So robots can be dangerous. The robots, the motors and the drives that are within a robot obviously are made out of metal. So robots can be very dangerous, and there's a lot of safety precautions that go along with installing robotics properly. But utilizing a cobot, a collaborative robot, there are special sensors that are used within the robot so that if the robot does touch you, it feels it without providing too much force against your body, and then the robot would stop. And so there's been a nice big guideline that's written about that, so you have to look into what types of parts you're producing. So obviously if you're producing a part that has a really sharp edge on it, even though the robot might stop, if you get hit with something with a sharp edge, still might hurt you. So there's considerations that still need to be done, even if you're utilizing a collaborative robot for safety. But for the most part, what it does is it allows the people and the robots to join and to do their work a lot closer together.
Now I know in addition to your primary booth on the show floor, you also have a pretty active presence at the SmartForce Student Summit. So what can you tell us about that and your workforce development?
Yeah, really, actually what AMT puts on for the SmartForce Summit, I have a strong passion for this. What I see, we sell so many robots and automation solutions, and I think about how many people are needed to actually operate the equipment and run the robotics and run the CNC machines that we continue to produce at a record pace. And truly there's just not enough skilled labor out there to do that, to run that. So with the Smart Summit and the Smart Workforce area that we have here, We are taking active steps to train the next generation of manufacturing workforce. Too many people think that manufacturing is from the days of old, that it's dirty and hot and repetitive and it's meant for unskilled people. And it's not the way it is today. Manufacturing today is cutting edge, it's exciting, it's high tech. And so what we have at the Student Summit, both with FANUC, with our own booth, as well as a lot of the representatives that we work with to provide the automation to schools, we have a curriculum that we produced both from a CNC side and a robot side, and we have a third-party certified curriculum that comes with our package. So as an educator, whether that be at the high school level, a 2-year tech level, or up into the university level, you can utilize either CNC or robotic technology. It comes with a third-party approved curriculum. We will train the trainer, train the teacher, and then the school is really off and running after that. And to this stage, we've sold systems into over 700 schools across the country. So I can just think about how many fully trained students are entering our new manufacturing workforce now. It really makes me happy that there's a large effort for this.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of times automation and or robots get kind of a bad rap because they say they steal jobs. But in the meantime, within the next like 10 years, I believe they project, there could be like a shortage of about 2 million workers in the industry. So obviously they still need to add more people no matter what the technology is.
Absolutely.
So what do you think about that relationship between automation and workforce?
It's been something that we have been talking about for a long time, really since we started delivering robots over 35 years ago, and that relationship between the automation and the human worker. What we try to automate the things that are either dull, dirty, or dangerous. So we're going in and we're looking at, it is true that robots do take over some of the things that were manually done before. There's no denying that, but what's happening, what gets missed a lot is that it's creating a whole new era of manufacturing opportunities that are there. Where the old manufacturing way was a person is standing in front of a machine, manually tending it all day long, low skill, boring, and what's happening now, those types of jobs are hard to fill. There aren't people out there that want to do those things, and those are the things that can be automated easily with robotics. However, when you do that, we're creating a whole new sector of robot technicians. So we need people to maintain the equipment that's out there, robot programmers. As we enter the IoT era now, there's a whole new wave of IT professionals that are needed to collect the data, analyze the data. How do we write good analytics around the data to have it be useful? So there's a lot of examples out there where manufacturers have automated. They have reduced the workforce that were doing the dull and dirty and dangerous things, but over time their employment has grown and far exceeded what they started with because they're bringing on new talent to handle all the different new things that are out there.
So it would be fair to say that automation makes jobs more meaningful.
Absolutely, they're higher paying, they're more meaningful, they're more rewarding, and in conjunction with the Student Summit that we have here, people are finding new ways to be in automation all the time.
So obviously FANUC robots are in some of the biggest factories all around the world, but what about some of the smaller companies? Do you think automation is accessible for them as well?
Absolutely, in a couple different ways. Over time, robots and automation have becoming easier and easier to use. That's another one of the big trends that you'll see out on the shop floor today when you walk the show. Some of these automation systems, once they're delivered, there's really no programming required. The software developers that have been working with the robots have created prepackaged screens and prepackaged cells so that once it's installed, it's like point and click. It's like operating an oven. It's like operating some standard equipment that you have at home. So the level of skill needed to operate these robots today is a lot lower than it had been in the past. On top of that, sometimes small to medium-sized businesses have a lot of part flexibility. That was always one of the ways that, or always one of the things that limited how much automation we could put into a small business is that they might make 3 of one thing and 5 of another thing and 10 of another thing, where big automotive was making 1 million of the same thing all the time. And we've come up with a lot of easy to use, flexible vision systems and tray systems, to where now a manufacturer can really go through and only use, they can make 2 of one thing, 5 of another thing, and it's still really easy to do with a robot.
That's great. It's
Yep.
very exciting. So what's kind of the next level for technology development and automation?
We're seeing a lot of new things out there with sensing technology. In past IMTSs, I've been coming to IMTS for a long time, and say, for example, 3-dimensional vision. Taking a bin full of parts that's totally randomly organized, that used to be one of the biggest science projects you'd see out on the show floor. And now it's shown as a very common, of course you can pick things up with 3D. Some of the next things is using artificial intelligence, where we have a display in our booth now where we're using a deep learning algorithm to have the robot actually train itself how to bin pick. So the robot uses its own successes and failures and trains itself how to empty out a bin without any programming at all. So that seems to be some of the next. You'll see a lot of things out there with virtual reality and augmented reality, trying to utilize those tools to make the robots and automation either easier to maintain or easier to program as well. So that's some things that I think that we're starting to show the beginnings of right now, but they're just going to keep exploding into the future.
So you say you've been coming to IMTS for a long time. When was your first show?
My first IMTS was 2004, so I don't know how long that is compared to some of the guys here, but for me it's been a long time.
So what's kind of the biggest changes you've seen since that time up till now?
Well, certainly the increase in automation on the machine tools. When I first started coming to IMTS, having at least some level of automation, even in terms of a bar feeder or a gantry machine to load the machines, was a rare sight to see. And now there might be just as many automation solutions out there as there are machine tools, where it's pretty common to see that. So that's been a big change. And then all the digital in past IMTSs. Having a small screen to maybe display some highlights on, or some video clips, and now, I mean, the Makino booth has a screen that spans the entire roof of their entire booth. So there's a lot more digital efforts that are happening now than there were back then.
So what gets you most excited about manufacturing?
For me, it's about helping people solve problems. Whether it's supplying some level of CNC technology that makes the machines either operate better or smarter, or providing some level of automation to allow an end user to make a better quality part, or make it faster, or make it safer. I talk about this all the time. All we do is solve manufacturing challenges. So one of the best parts about being at this show is you can sit and talk to people all day long, and they're just coming with challenges. And we have a great group of engineers, and we have a great group of salespeople, and we'll solve people's problems all day long. It's the best part about being here.
That's great. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Mike.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
This has been Penny Brown for the MFG Advocate on IMTS TV.